And hey there, good timers! Once again, as you can see, I am in the kitchen for another Cooking with Andy segment here. And this one is going to be inspired also by our very latest Gatlinburg trip. As you might remember, in the very last episode, we went over and had some biscuits and gravy, among other things, over at Crocketts Breakfast Camp. And according to the Frontiersman Travel Adventures, Crocketts is the best breakfast in the world. That might have been exaggerating a little bit, but I will say that they were pretty darn good over there. And we especially enjoyed the biscuits and gravy. So today, I am going to create a keto version of that for you. It's going to be keto biscuits and gravy coming up soon here with Andy in the kitchen. And all right, good timers, so for biscuits and gravy, you need a couple of simple things. That's biscuits, and then you need some sausage gravy to go with it. So for the biscuits, we're going to be using some almond flour, a couple of eggs, some baking powder, some great Irish butter here, and also a little bit of heavy whipping cream. So that's going to be all that it takes to make the biscuits, and those ought to be really tasty. For the sausage gravy, we've got a few more ingredients there for that one. We got a little bit of crushed red pepper just for a little bit of heat. Some chicken broth, a little bit of ground sage to flavor it up. We got some Down East breakfast sausage, and that's some local stuff that's made right here in Maine. A little bit of onion powder and some garlic powder for seasoning. Some beef gelatin to thicken it with, and also to thicken it with, we got a little bit of Philadelphia cream cheese here. So that's a little bit of a different ingredient in sausage gravy, but it is going to help thicken it and keep it keto as well. So, and obviously we got some crushed black pepper right here in this container here, so that's going to be great as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started on all this and show you the results. All right, guys, so the first thing you want to do is set your oven here to 350, because that's what we're going to be baking these biscuits at, and they're going to bake for about 20 minutes. So we are using the, the Keto Connect website for our biscuit recipe, and I love Keto Connect stuff. I use them quite often for a lot of my recipes, and I've made these biscuits before, and they usually come out real good. So right now, all I'm doing is measuring 3 cups of almond flour. Putting that right in the bowl for the dry ingredients. All right. Then to that, we are going to do 6 teaspoons of baking powder. Probably should have found the spoon first. All right, well, there's a tablespoon. For those of you that don't know, 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, so we're going to use 2 tablespoons here of baking powder instead. Right in there, and just a pinch of salt. All right, and then to that you're going to want to add 6 tablespoons of really cold butter. This just came right out of the fridge. We're going to want to dice that up a little bit because we're going to want to mix it into the dry ingredients there. So yeah, we're just going to cut this up into small pieces, and then we're going to break it up into the dry ingredients. You want to kind of mix it in there until the dry ingredients becomes kind of sandy, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. All right, let me grab a fork. And we're literally just going to mash this right in until we get a little bit of a grainy consistency. All right, guys, and you can see the consistency now of these biscuits. A little bit of a graininess. You can still see some of the butter in there, so that's pretty much what you're looking for, is that consistency there. Now we're going to add our liquid ingredients, and that is going to be 2 eggs right in there, preferably without the shells. I see a shell there. You can tell that I cracked these because otherwise there wouldn't be any shells, so try to get the shell out of the egg here before you put it into the biscuit. All right, there we go. I think all right, maybe not. All right, there we go. Hey, I got it. Don't worry about salmonella on the fingers. We'll just lick that off. All right, and then we've got 1/2 cup of heavy cream. This is a 1 cup measure, so we're going to just do halfway here. Right in there. Then it's a matter of just mixing it all together. And we don't want to overmix this, guys. Otherwise, it's going to be a chewy biscuit. You want your biscuits to always be flaky. So just going to stir that in. And if it looks too wet, then we're just going to add a little bit more almond flour to it. But we'll see what it looks like once it's all in there. It does look like it's going to be a little bit wet, so I am going to add just a pinch more of almond flour. Probably about 1/4 of a cup at a time on that. So take care of that for you. All right, add a little bit more flour in there, guys. And that's looking better already. All right, so to this pan here, I'm just going to add some parchment paper, guys. That'll help the biscuits not to stick. And I am still going to spray this pan as well a little bit. Once again, just to help it out. Nothing too heavy, just a little bit of a spray. And then we're going to find a, hopefully a larger ice cream scoop here. And yada! Try this piece off here. Just making that a little smaller so it actually fits the pan. Maybe. All right. And we're going to scoop away here. So this should make 6 good-sized biscuits here. You don't have to make them too pretty, guys. They're biscuits, you know. You want them to look a little, I don't know, a little rustic, we'll say. Kind of just free biscuiting it, free forming. I'm going to try to get 6 out of this. Slide this over a little bit. We're going to make these even a little bit bigger. So I do got a little bit of batter left. Yeah, let's get a little bit more on that one. Oops. A little bit more on that one. A little bit more on this one. Now, why not? A little bit more over here. All right, and there we go. That's all there is to it. Once again, we don't have to be too pretty with this. Now we're just going to pop these into the oven. Should take about 20 minutes, hopefully, and we'll have some biscuits ready to go for our gravy. Okay, so as you guys can see, got my trusty cast iron pan here. Once again, this is the pan I love the most, and I use it for pretty much everything. We are just going to try to cut this. Man, I should really practice these things before I start. There we go. All right, cut this thing open and get our sausage cooking. This. And you can just squeeze it right out of the log like this. Let the handling sausage jokes commence. I'm sure that Keno kids are already starting to comment on them. All right, so make sure you guys get all your sausage out of the package. Simone, by the way, is in the other room right now, chuckling to herself. There seems to be a lot of sausage in this package. All right, well, I think I got it all. Close enough anyway. So we're going to get this frying up, guys, and that's going to be step 1 of making this gravy. This is going to be pretty easy to make, actually, so it's not going to be too complicated. It's pretty much just going to be sausage, some heavy cream, and some chicken broth along with a few seasonings. So we're going to brown this up here, and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is what your sausage should look like here before you add your other ingredients, nice and browned up. If you're using pre-cooked sausage, then you don't have to worry about it too much, but this was raw sausage, so we want to make sure that it's all nice and brown here before we add anything else to it, and it looks pretty darn good. All right, guys, so there's the chicken broth here. Like I said, about 1/4 of a cup, which is perfect because that lets me empty the box. Then we're also going to add some heavy cream to it. I actually got the heat turned off right now while I do this because my burner's acting a little funny tonight. It likes to burn stuff all on its own, so we'll turn it back on now. And the cream, we're going to add a little bit more. That's probably going to be about a cup's worth, but I want to incorporate this first. And then we'll add a little bit more. Now's a good time to add your seasonings as well. So we got a little bit of crushed red pepper just to give it a little bit of a kick. Not too much because we don't want to give Simone heartburn here, but just a pinch. Now we're going to do some onion powder. Probably about a teaspoon or so of that. All right. And a little bit of garlic, because who doesn't like garlic? And this is just garlic powder here. Probably about half a teaspoon or so of that, I guess. And then just a little bit of sage, because everybody loves sage in their breakfast sausage. Then one of the main ingredients, or the main ingredient in a nice pepper sausage, sausage pepper gravy is pepper. So lots of black pepper. You don't want it ground too fine either. You want some nice coarse ground pepper for it. So we'll start with that. And we're just going to let this cook and simmer for a little while, and then we're going to add some cream cheese to help thicken it up, and probably a little bit of the beef gelatin powder too, which is completely keto. No starches in there, no flour in there. So we're just going to let this simmer and then continue to thicken it up. Okay guys, so this sausage gravy is at a nice simmer right now. Time to add the cream cheese to thicken it up. Once again, the traditional sausage gravy does not have cream cheese. It just has flour to thicken it, but we're keeping this keto today, so no flour involved. But we are going to do some cream cheese to thicken up. This is also going to make it a little bit more rich than some sausage gravies. So I've actually done this before, and it really adds a nice taste to it. So I did about a half of a block there of cream cheese, and we're just going to let this melt in. So this isn't quite as thick as I'd like it, so we are going to add a little bit of this beef gelatin powder. I'll show you what that looks like here. So on the beef gelatin powder, you want to kind of treat this like you would cornstarch, which means you don't want to add it directly to the gravy, because if you do that, you're just going to get really big clumps of beef gelatin, and that probably isn't going to be pleasant. So what we're going to do is we're going to probably start off with like a tablespoon here or so, and we're going to dissolve that tablespoon with a little bit of water before we add it to the mix. So let's go ahead and do that. And cold water works best. We're going to stir it up here first. Once again, so it's not chunky, because we're not looking to get chunky stuff here, unless it's sausage. And then we're just going to add it slowly, because it is going to thicken up quite a bit. So I'm not sure if we're going to end up using all of this or not. So we'll stir that little bit in there first, just to see. And we'll go ahead and add the rest, I think. If there's any more in the bottom of it, we'll just do one of these and kind of swirl it around. There we go. Make sure it's all out of there. That did thicken it up quite a bit. We still actually got a little bit of cream cheese in there, I can see too, as well. So we're going to let this come to a simmer again and see if it thickens up even more. We may have to add a little bit more beef gelatin still. But we'll give it here a few minutes and see what we think. And our biscuits should be just about ready here. Oh yeah. These are looking pretty good. So check those out, guys. Those are my keto cat head biscuits. And they're nice, big, large, calling them cat head biscuits, because those are the kind that they do over at Crocketts Breakfast Camp. And they are quite large over there as well. So these are browned up real nice, feel good. So I think they're going to be perfect for our biscuits and gravy. Okay guys, and there we have it, the finished product. And the only thing left to do is to try this. I'm going to add it on a nice fancy plate, because, you know, we're not too fancy over here in these parts. Speaking of fancy...
Plus, I don't have to do the dishes then.
There's pickles. And this is going to be real hot, so you might want to blow on my sausage.
Blow on the meat.
Yes, blow on the meat first before we try it.
A little bit of everything. Ooh, that's some hot meat.
Yep, it's definitely warm.
Mm-hmm. Very delicious.
You get some biscuit in there too?
I did. It's buttery, it's nice and flaky.
Nice.
It's reminiscent of the South.
Reminiscent of the South. There you go. Of Crocketts and Red Rooster and
all those biscuit places.
All those awesome biscuit places over in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So if you guys haven't watched that, then go ahead and watch our Gatlinburg, Tennessee vlogs. And had a lot of fun over there in Gatlinburg. Had some great food, and we're reliving some of it right now here with some keto sausage biscuits and gravy. So you guys can find the complete recipe on Keto Connect, or you can just ask me and I'll let you know. But appreciate you guys watching as always, and we'll see you here in a little bit with another new vlog. Until next time, have a good time. See ya.